Hello everybody and welcome to the OGRL Coffee Cup Round 4 here from Spa. A slightly shorter Season 3 is now into its second half. LMP2 GT3 experiment will continue. We've got a lot more drivers at sea this time round than what we had at Silverstone. You'll be pleased to know the qualifying times are currently rolling in. It's myself, Ewan, and James Parfitt with you for this round of the championship. It's a classic circuit for endurance racing. I think maybe the slightly higher numbers, James, have been helped by the fact that this is a circuit that almost everybody who owns iRacing will own.
Yeah, they should do, at least here, to be fair. If they don't, I'll be a little bit surprised because, well, you take part in any form of endurance series, you would have raced at Spa at one point. But I think overall, this could be an interesting one. As I say, a few more cars out on track. We're going to have 6 LMP2s and the rest of the field in GT3s. So we'll see how they all go here and whether or not they make it round without any issues.
So let's hope so. Alfie Nichols is currently leading the way in this qualifying session. He's actually gone quicker in this session than he did all of 2-hour practice, which is a bit surprising. I often say that. Maybe the conditions are a bit more ideal now that the sun is out and beating down very quickly and forcefully onto this circuit. Only 26 degrees though, track temperature, which is a nice place to be. And Hayden Young is currently leading the way in the GT3 standings. He's in the McLaren this time around. If memory serves me, I think he was in the McLaren at Silverstone, wasn't he? But away from his usual Porsche.
Can I just say yes and hope that I got it correct?
Hayden Young? Yeah, I don't know.
To be honest, I've really
normally you're not allowed
remember.
to change car, but anyway,
yeah, I think they're a bit more relaxed this time around though because of the way the series is. I know people have been fleetering between LMP2s and GT3, so it's gonna be interesting. I think you can, to be honest with you.
It seems like it. It seems like you're allowed. So yeah, that's why we've got so different. And hopefully, if you remember back to Imola, we had the GT3s all lined up based on manufacturer rather than based on how quick they went in qualifying. Hopefully, the session will be set up correctly this time around, and we will have the starting grid done normally. I think rather bizarrely at Silverstone, the qualifying order was actually, in terms of lap times, we're all in manufacturer order anyway, which made us wonder. But they actually managed to qualify in manufacturer order, which I don't think I've ever seen happen before. But a bit of a coincidence on that particular occasion. Doesn't look like it's going to happen this time round though. We've got loads of different manufacturers. Tidwell's the only Lamborghini and he's off through No Name Corner, straight back on again. He's going to bring the gravel into the grass rather than right onto the circuit, which is pleasing. Few Mustangs, in fact just the one Mustang, sorry, set a time for the moment, and the one Mustang in the session as a whole. Fortunately, I think we might have lost Mark Ossier and Cody Bont, which might move it down to 17, but we have had a couple of drivers, Tim Probert and Chris Slane, out there in this qualifying session trying to set times. So far, they haven't been able to.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. We did know that off-tracks are very, very tight here. Chaplin goes over the line, 2:21.855, and then Rick Modric behind in the McLaren, looking very gorgeous indeed, I've got to be honest.
Yep. He just joined us actually in qualifying, didn't do any of the practice session. But just got himself out here in time for qualifying. We'll see where he can get to. Probably out of practice slightly. This is his last lap, so it's clearly been building up the speed, but he's not going to get himself too much further up the order here unless he's really found something in the final lap of this session. A bit slow into the bus stop chicane, so I think he is going to be starting from near the back end of the field anyway, over the line for Modric, and indeed it is. What's the time going to be? I think that is a bit quicker than his previous. No, maybe not. Doesn't seem to have counted at all.
Yeah, 2:24.58. There was an off track in there, so he's going to have one more go. Really, I did do the interesting thing as well. Is Friday we had a return of a GTE league, and they had a Ford in there that looked absolutely stunning in the livery. I think it was like a Budweiser livery, but it looked absolutely amazing as well. If you haven't watched that back, go and watch the TSRC GTE there as well, because there's a special Ford in there that looks absolutely incredible. It's well worth it just for that, to be blatantly honest with you. Just like this car here, it does look very gorgeous indeed.
It's a bit of a throwback already, GTE, isn't it? It was certainly some of the cars that are actually in that car class in iRacing have been retired a long time ago. The class as a whole retired at the end of 2022 from memory. So that's already 2.5 years ago. Looking forward to doing a couple of rounds of that series this season. I'm dipping in and out. I think you're there for the whole thing, but almost. But I'll be dipping in and out for one or two around other things on a Friday night. But yeah, OGRL here on a Saturday afternoon if you're in Europe, or if you're in America, then Sunday morning. We don't broadcast every day here in the OGRL, but there is racing almost every day. From Friday, I think there's a different series. So if you do want to join in, and do join the OGRL league, they're all the links for OGRL, whether you need the Discord or whatever you need, is in the description of this YouTube video, so you can come and join in. And if you want a bit of racing on a Sunday morning in North American time, then or South American time, I suppose, then you can join in through that Discord and join in the Coffee Cup, which has been a real success. Certainly season 2, thoroughly enjoyed it. 24 rounds across about 8 months in the end, and even at the end of that, we had some very exciting championships to look back on. But it was Bradley Lovings versus Josh Herring for the title in the pro class in the GT3 after 24 rounds, if you can believe it, in season 2. It was a wonderful season, and we've gone to LMP2 and GT3 this time round.
Yeah, we'll be back, I think, heading back to GT3s. Going back into what you were saying, Monday they do Mazdas, Tuesday they do GR86s and GT4s, Wednesday short ovals, Thursday's NASCAR trucks, Saturday is next gen, Sunday's Coffee Cup. So the only day they don't race is Friday.
But I'd imagine most few of them would be knocking about to do something on a Friday anyway, to be honest with you. Based on this, everybody racing every day, pretty much. I noticed we're taking on the long pit lane here today, by the way, as qualifying has just come to an end. We're into warm-up. That they're coming out of the endurance pit lane down there, and I haven't caught a glimpse of the Grand Prix pits. Are we entering in the Grand Prix pits and then driving the whole way round, or are we entering in just the endurance pits for this?
No, we're entering in the normal pit lane, and then driving all the way around, I believe, as well. I didn't realise they do trucks on a Thursday. You know what
we're
I'm
doing
thinking.
the league on a Thursday now, anyway, as well. So
oh yes, oh man, there goes me truck racing. Never mind.
Yeah.
What can we do?
Yep.
Hey.
What can you do? I've thought about joining actually on a Monday night for OGRL. To be honest, it just look like a bit of fun in the Mazdas. So I'll think about that. We are coming up towards the end of an iRacing season, though. To be honest, and that does rather interrupt things. It is coming towards the end of seasons and whatever. So yeah, I definitely need to get back league racing again. I've done some iRacing races. Need to do some league races again. But
how is the iRacing races going?
Quite badly. I think I'm about to go down a division actually.
Oh no, it's not a good start.
I keep getting involved in incidents and stuff. I mean, it's just annoying,
I can imagine. Yeah. Somebody else's fault, eh?
Mostly. No, mostly it is my fault, but I keep making mistakes and then getting irrationally frustrated by myself and making more mistakes. So it's just very annoying. You just end up wanting to throw the whole thing out the window in the end, don't you?
Yes.
It's very frustrating. So there you go. Not particularly great, to be honest. But yeah, this is very much my kind of racing. To be honest, just sports car racing. I don't know if I've done any open wheel racing. You know, since they split the licenses between sports car and Formula car, I think they call it. I don't think I've done a single race in an open wheel car ever since that point. So this is very much my kind of racing. As a combination of people practicing pit entry and Nick Marshall, who's just going for a slide, to be honest, through the bus stop chicane there in warm-up. Everybody out there on the circuit together again. And you are right, they are entering the Grand Prix pit lane. But there's almost no point because there's nobody in the garages on the Grand Prix pits.
No, but I guess whoever set the session up has done it that way, and that way is how it's going to be, I guess, I think. I'm going to be interested to see a long old run around that pit lane, so I'm going to be very interested to see how it works here, because yeah, they've got a run and a half to cope with.
Yes, There's only 25 pit boxes, by the way, in the Grand Prix pits, so we would have been okay not even sharing anybody in the Grand Prix pits, but there you go. It's very, very difficult to manage that, as we know, so never mind. That's the way that it goes. Minute and a half left in warm-up, and then we'll be into the race. I don't know if we've got a short parade lap here in this session, but you will notice that the parade lap has actually changed fairly recently. Are we now line up just before the Piff Paff chicane rather than just before Blanchimont, which meant for a very, very short parade lap? Now it's a little bit longer. We take on the last few corners of Sector 2 and then the whole of Sector 3 before we are racing a little bit later on. And Alfie Nichols will bring us to the green in a few moments' time, you'd imagine. Be the glaring favourite for this race.
Yeah, definitely. So they don't line up down just after Blanchimont?
No.
Oh. Why has that changed?
Don't really know. I think it's just to give a bit of a longer warm-up lap, really, even when you're doing the short layout, because basically no corners when we used to do it. There's just that final bus-stop chicane, but now there are, I'd say, a few corners of Sector 2 and then the whole of Sector 3 to get the tyres warmed up and etc. Maybe it came in with the new tyre model that meant that you need to do a bit more warming up on the formation lap.
Yeah, but wiggling don't really do a lot anyway. Let's be real.
No, not really.
You know what I mean? So there we go. Don't forget later on, guys, as well, going off about 7 p.m. will be the OGRL mums and I'm going to call it mums and wives race, right? Because there's not all mums involved in this. There's about 8 wives and mums who are going to be driving around Lime Rock in a little GR86. So if you want to get yourself involved, there is still time. If you have a son that you're supporting in this race and you feel like as a mum or a wife, you can go and want to get yourselves involved, please get them to drop me a DM and we can get you in to the overlay to have your name on the broadcast a little bit later on as well. That goes off round about 7 o'clock this evening BST. So yeah, if you want to get yourselves involved,
4 hours.
You can in about 4 hours time. Yeah, I believe the session opens at 5 p.m. BST,
yeah,
and then 2 hours practice. So there we go.
Yeah, so plenty of time to get set up. Not long, actually. The session opening long after we've finished this race here. Let's have a look at the starting grid, though, for the next round of the OGRL Coffee Cup here from Spa with Alfie Nichols on the front. On the pole, nearly a second ahead of David Van Roy. Another fantastic qualifying lap from him. William Bailey and Nicholas Marshall excuse me, are sharing row 2 with Scott Carson and then Chris Slane rounding out the LMP2 field. Hayden Young has taken the pole in the GT3s ahead of Jim Sawyer, who's back again, and that's a great lap from him. Brandon Kowski's behind. Brad Tidwell, who won the Pro-Am class of the GT3s, is going to start from 10th. Benno Hannett will be in 11th place ahead of Heath Ollinger, who is sharing row 6 with him. Further down the field in GT3, it's going to be 13th place for Greg Tax, with Chris Walford alongside. Michael Champlin and Rick Modric are next ahead of Tim Probert, Cody Bond and Marc Costier, who didn't set times. And I can tell you all of them have started. So I was slightly fearful that a couple of those drivers towards the back wouldn't actually get off to the start here because they weren't in qualifying. Actually, it just turns out they wanted to start from the back.
Yeah, why not? Give yourself a challenge. You know what I mean? I don't think I'd be any good at a last to first challenge, to be honest with you, Mr. O'Leary. I don't think my ability would be getting me to first. I think I would still be last to last.
The thing is about a last to first challenge is you actually need to try a lot harder than you think. A lot less hard than you think. It will gain so many places, especially if you try and do this in iRacing officials or whatever. The short sprint races, you will gain so many places just by staying on the road. You don't even need to try, really.
Yeah, I suppose. Technically, I have already done a last to first challenge and won the race.
Not on purpose.
No, well, not on purpose. No, I won the MX 500, didn't I, at Martinsville? And I was started in last and finished in first. So technically, I've already done it. That's another notch on my bed that I don't have to worry about.
Another what?
Another notch, well, I should say another notch on the, like the bucket list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
I did say on my bed, which sounded a bit weird. So I'm going to just ignore that and joss over that and carry on.
What the hell are you doing? Anyway, let's bring them to the green here on the Grand Prix finish. I'm not sure where they start, actually, when they do the whole way round, but let's see as they work their way over the Grand Prix start-finish line. Now, Nichols waiting a long time, if indeed he is, and no, we are going to go around the other side. thought it was, a start round the other side. And let's hope everybody knows that in the background, because it's not especially common knowledge. I can never remember which way round it works. I've seen all sorts of different... saw a race yesterday where they did a full formation lap as well as that short parade lap that they did. It's very weird. Anyway, we're not doing a full formation lap after the short one here. We're getting straight underway with racing. 75 minutes here from the OGRL Coffee Cup all over again. And it is Alfie Nichols who's going to bring us to the green. He's now in control and he doesn't wait around for very long before getting us underway in towards Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time. But it's side by side for third between Bailey and Marshall. But they are very respectful and give each other a lot of room, although not quite at the end. They get close over the top of Radion. As in the background, Chris Slane will just come up on them. In the background again, it's GT3s who are getting underway to a single file start, as they tend to, really. They were only just making their way out of La Source. Upwards we don't go in anyway, and off! Chris Slane in towards Lecombe has made contact, I think. He's certainly been in the barriers, and he's off into Lecombe.
Yeah, how did he end up quite there? Because everything was running fine at this moment in time for Chris Slane. And then all of a sudden, he just shoots off. Did he just miss his braking point? Oh, I believe so. Missed his braking point and then run up the wall. Unfortunately for Chris Lane, he's going to have to keep going. Everybody through. Oh, he's round again. I'm guessing he's got more damage than I think there. I thought he might have been all right, but he did clunk that wall pretty hard. He might be okay, but he's just got to settle back down again. Gaps appearing out in front already in the LMP2s. In the GT3s, Hayden Young and JT tucked in behind him with Bradley Tidwell in there, and Heath Ollinger, who is there at the same time in that BMW, mind you.
Greg Tax is trying to defend from Tim Probert, who's on a mission here. He is trying to come through the field from the back end, and already, after not qualifying, he's already up into 12th place overall. That is 7th place in class. And we already know how quick Tim Probert is. I think he's doing exactly what you were talking about there, giving himself a challenge. And it really is going to be a challenge. If you remember Silverstone, I'm pretty sure he won by a mile, really. Mm-hmm. And so he is absolutely roaring through the field already. Heath Ollinger is next in line in the only BMW we've got in the field here today. Probert looks down the inside of Blanchard. He's not going to be able to do it there.
No, he's not. He's going to have to stay in behind him at the moment and get him down into the bus stop, I think, here. Depending on what Ollinger's going to do. How nice is the defence? Oh, my blimey, he might just non-existent. I do like Ollinger's livery, mind you. He's going to come back at him, going through the exit. Now cover him off on the outside. There you go. Heath has done that as well. There's an Acura moving further up. That's Brian Dukowski. Marshall and Carlson in the LMP2s were swapping backwards and forwards then. And I believe they may have had some form of tangle at some point here, because there's a couple of times that these two have popped up in red.
And let's have a look. The bus stop chicane. Oh,
yes.
Oh dear. What was that about? Why did Bailey slow... Or was it Bailey or was it Carson? Sorry. Carson, yeah. Why did he slow down so much there for the corner? I've got no idea, but he slowed down straight in front of Marshall, almost like he was brake checking him. Of course, he wasn't actually, but what was he doing there?
I don't really know, because there's going to be another one in a minute. Well, I don't really know what he was doing. Slow. I don't know what he was doing, to be blatantly honest. Maybe he was... I don't know. I'm not going to say testing brakes, because that sounds like he's did it on purpose, but for Probert at the moment, he's coming back through the field. He's just about to go up the inside of Penel Hanley. Through he goes, and now he's got Dukowski in front of him.
And oh wow, look at the rearview camera there. Very nearly got straight into the back of his fellow McLaren there, but not quite. But he's already up into 5th position in class. What a fantastic run through the field already from him. Well, he got past Ollinger not that long ago, and now he's got Dukowski just in front of him. If I'm not mistaken, he wasn't with us in Season 2 Pro. He didn't do it, or did he do very late on in the season a couple of races? I can't remember.
I think he did a couple of races towards the end, maybe. I think.
Yeah. He's certainly one with us from the start. But, I mean, if he gets into a full GT3 season, we know get back to the numbers that we had before, get to some of the names back that we had before as well, who were up towards the front like last time. He's going to be a real contender with even some of those guys. I mean, I'd really like to see him and Alfie Nichols, to be honest, in the same class. That'd be very entertaining to see.
Oh, they would have a right little ding-dong, wouldn't they? That would be absolutely amazing. I'd love to see that as well. So maybe we can get Alfie back in a GT3 for the last round or something to have a go with Tim Probert. That would be exciting. But I think you are right. Tim did join, I think it was very late on, towards the end of last season. I think he did a couple of the races before we obviously shut down to bring you the GT3 LMP2 series, but I'm sure he'll be hopefully getting involved for the next round. I know there's a lot of more UK and Ireland, or European, I should say, people looking to take part from a couple of other Discords as well. They're going to get themselves involved in the GT3. So if you are out there and you are from the UK, come and get yourself involved. You can do that, or from Europe, I should say. You can get yourself involved. It's not just American League, and then it isn't. I would like to clear up, as long it's called OGRL, which is the Old Guys Racing League. It is not. You do not have to be old either. Okay, because I think Alfie Nichols is quite young, isn't he, taking part in this? So you do not have to be old either to drive in this league.
No, it's a slightly misleading name, I suppose, but the old guys part doesn't really narrow down the sort of what do you call it? The specification, I guess. What's the word for you to compete?
The restriction.
Literally anybody can compete. If you've got an iRacing account and you've got GT3 cars, then then you know, come and join. It's not just for old guys.
Yeah, you don't have to be 40 plus. You know what I mean?
No. Well, then you get to the argument: how old is old? You know, when do we get?
Well, according to my kids, I'm blinking ancient already. They told me this morning.
Ancient,
ancient,
ancient guys racing league.
Yeah, the ancient, yeah, AGRL as well. Apparently, according to my kids, I'm ancient. So there you go. I was like, thanks, boys. You know what I mean?
I think that's a kid's job to say that your parents are ancient. To be fair, even when you're like 5 and they're about 30.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
I think he called me. I think George, the oldest one, the oldest boy, has called me ancient since he was about 5, 6 at least.
Yeah.
So you know, he's now 14, and I'm still ancient.
Exactly. Yeah, you just get. They just get older as well. You know, but still ancient as you're still as far away as them. But anyway, yes, we got right off a sidetrack here. This is Tim Prower again, getting past Brian Dukowski in the last couple of moments. Now he's trying to do the same to Tidwell, make it a McLaren 1-2-3 here, and it will have to happen at the bus stop chicane. Outside line is shown the outside by Tidwell, and he is not going to be giving up the position just for the moment. And as he goes further up here, probably he's going to find these overtakes more difficult. However, he's not seemingly finding it very difficult. The quality of drivers is going up as he's going up the field, but Robert is still finding his way past. But Tidwell giving him a good fight here into Los Osos again.
Yeah, you can see he's going to have a battle down the hill, I think, to try and get up here for that McLaren. We know Tidwell loves his good old Lamborghini. He knows what this car is going to do, how it's going to do it, and when it's going to do it. You can see the carry of massive overspeed from Probert, and away he goes. He does leave room on the inside, mind you. And that could be the fact that Cody Bont has also had a drama, but Probert has gone through, tucked it right in front of him. Job done for him. He's now setting after JT, of course, who joined Darkwing Racing. So, yeah, last season, and come on leaps and bounds by joining them. So hopefully that he will basically carry on from where he left off, will old JT, and see how he gets on here.
Now, a couple of things about him. Firstly, is it JT or Jim?
Because we've got both. JT, these are.
Yeah, I don't know which one he wants, but anyway, he hasn't told us to not say either. So I guess maybe he hasn't heard us or whatever. But anyway, secondly, I wonder if we go back to a pro-am and am distinction classification like we had last season, as Champlin goes down the inside of Walford here for 15th overall, 9th in class. I wonder where Sawyer would actually get to these days, because he's hanging tough quite well with Hayden Young, who was in the Pro last time. He's ahead of Brad Tidwell, who won the Pro-Ams last season. Don't forget, the reason I bring it up is because Sawyer was an AM last season, and he didn't even win the championship, so he really has come on in the last few weeks.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think he committed to joining Darkwing, and he had some good drivers around him as well. Mikey... Oh, my God. Can't remember his surname.
No, that can't be right. I think that's a different series.
No, it's not. It's not. There was...
Oh, Tidwell! Off the road! At Blanchemont, the fastest corner on this circuit. He's gone in the wall pretty hard there in the Lamborghini. That was pretty bad contact there. He is in the fence, so the damage is not too bad, but you don't have small crashes around here. Let's see how it happened. He just loses the rear. Wow, that's worrying signs for the Lamborghini. Only 10 minutes in and he's already getting loose like that.
Yeah, he is. Steering wheel looks okay. He may have got away with it. Chris Slane does look like he's had some drama though. JT has now got Probert in behind him. That is Chris Slane in there in the LMP2. This is actually, believe it or not, for position here for Slane. He's had so many dramas that he's unfortunately now mixing out with the GT3s. He's going to want to go through. Probert gives him room on the inside, although be it not really having to. You can see them coming down now into Lecombe. And Probert's going to get through. Slane's going to get through. And poor old JT down into third place at the moment.
Yeah. JT saw it into third, but I think he'll be pleased with that. Chris Slane is about 4 seconds behind Young, and then he'll add another second for Probert. So effectively, he's gone through the field in 10 minutes, Tim Probert, which is a very impressive job in itself. But he's effectively given Hayden Young a bit of a 5-second head start and said, well, see if you can go on and win from here, because that is not an insignificant margin that he's to cross here in the next few moments, Tim Probert. But based on what he won by in the first, or the most recent race, 2 weeks ago, I reckon that is easily going to be eaten up by Tim Probert over the course of the next hour.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he's going to close all the way in on him, to be honest, Will Probert. And it's down to Young to now trying to escape. That's the thing. He knows Probert is where he is, and I'm sure these guys have met Ian officials before, but because they're in and around, saying that, Hayden's 1.9, Probert's 3.8, I believe, I think, on that one. So, you know, they're would have at least met, I would have put for at 1 point in officials, but we'll have to see whether or not Young can get away. He does allow Chris Slane to go through. Is Chris going to get this right? Not really. That could slow Young up. You can see that they're practically matched coming out the exit, and it'll be only when he gets up to sort of mid-speed, there you go, the LMP2 just roars off, and that's the end of that one.
Yep, it will be. Slane now will go on and chase the LMP2 rivals that he's got up in front as we approach 15 minutes gone in this race. Alfie Nichols leads by 2 seconds ahead of David Vemroy, but they are close, and Vemroy gained a 1/10 of a second last lap, by the way, so it's getting a bit closer for the lead of this race. William Bailey is about 10 seconds further behind, and so he won't be troubling those up towards the front, but Nichols and Vemroy look like they're going to have a good fight this afternoon for that race victory. And I think it would be good to see as well. Vemroy did challenge Nichols quite well at Imola, in the first race of the season. I wasn't here for round 2, but at Silverstone, Nichols was very, very dominant. And I would like to see Vemroy giving him at least a bit of a run for his money here at the front of LMP2 in this race.
Yeah, David's quite quick, so he should be able to get onto the back of him. But we know how fast Nichols is. That's the problem. And whether or not Nichols is going to bring him in to, you know, give him a little bit of excitement throughout this race, because, you know, it would be boring for Nichols if he just pulled away and that's about it at the end of it, isn't it? So we'll keep an eye on them and see when they come together. But this is Michael Chaplin and Greg Taukas fighting out here as well.
Yep, further down the GT3 field, this is for 8th and 9th position, and Chaplin's actually working his way through the field as well here. He got knocked back initially on the race start, but he's back to where he qualified now, and that is because of an overtake he made at Walford not so long ago. Chris Walford is the biggest loser in the field, unfortunately, so far in terms of positions lost. 5 lost so far from where he qualified in 13th, and we might well get a view as to quite why here. He's already lost a couple at this stage, but these are the final 3 that he did finally lose. Oh dear, just drove himself off there through La Source.
Got it all wrong, and then kind of tried to slam the throttle on to get back onto the track there, and unfortunately he ended up losing more places. Chaplin, I'm surprised he's still struggling with this Porsche here. That we know the power of the Mustang and how the Porsche struggles in top speed at the moment, but Chaplin can't even get anywhere near Greg here. He can't even make it a remote little bit of an impression on the gap that they had. So Chaplin's going to have to go again.
Yeah, he is. And you'd imagine that straight line speed of the Mustang is going to be enough here. We know the Porsche isn't the best in a straight line. And the long straight, the long run from La Source right the way up to the top of the hill at Lecombe is coming up very, very shortly. And that is a decent run as well from Chaplin. Good job, by the way, from Wolford to stay a little bit further down the circuit before coming back on. As off in the background, Ostier goes off and brings even more gravel onto the circuit. Thankfully, they've brought it on a bit further down and not in the traction zone, which is a positive for everybody. Not a great line from Greg Tax up the hill there, and Michael Chamberlain is going to roar straight through. Even with the manufacturer difference, it might not really matter. He might have got through anyway, Chamberlain, with the run for Tax there not being so great. In towards Lecombe, outside line, Chamberlain just needs to close the door. He does brake late enough to do that, and he's through into 14th.
Yeah, great job from Chamberlain there. As you say, there wasn't a great run up for Rouge and Radion, and now he has just gone and bypassed him and flown through. So Michael Chamberlain making his way through the field. Greg not letting him off. Ossier and Wolford, they're together, and that is due to Ossier doing this.
Yes, my source. Just looked to me like he ran too deep. Let's see if that is the case. Broke a bit too late, yeah. And then tried to get on the power sort of at the same point. It's almost very similar to Wolford, really. Trying to get on the power at the same point as you would do otherwise is not a great idea when you've gone deep into the corner like that. And unfortunately, both of them have managed that now. It sort of almost looks really strange, doesn't it? They just drive each other off the road almost.
Yeah, that's the thing. I bet Wolford sat in the car and went, I did that. Yeah, I mean, as he just watched Ossier do the same thing. He'd be like, oh, that was me last lap. But now he's going to stay ahead. I think these two could have a right little bit of a ding-dong here. They're in and around the same sort of pace, and I think this could get a little bit spicy. They are the closest cars on the circuit at this moment in time, mind you.
They are. And they are going to be passed first by the lap traffic here. The LMP2s at this circuit are not that much quicker, to be honest. 9 seconds, really, for the top guys. 9 seconds from the top guys to the top guys. So, obviously, Alfie Nichols is about 13 seconds or so quicker than these guys who are at the back end of the field. But the fact that the lap is over 2 minutes long, well over 2 minutes long, means that it's about 10 laps until you actually see lapping happen. We've just about to complete lap 8 for the leaders now, with Nichols 1.8 seconds in front of Van Roy. So one more lap of freedom effectively for them, but this time, next lap, they will be getting very close to lapping as, there you go, Wolford wide, and indeed he's repeated his mistake. And that's 3 in a row now, if you count the 2 of them.
Yeah, basically. So it's Ossier's turn, isn't it? And then Wolford's going to get through. That's what I mean. I think these two are they're at the back. This is technically the fight for last, but they're probably having a great battle and a great bit of fun there. You can see the 2 Porsches further up there together as well. That's Tax and Cody Bond are fighting it out. Actually, it's Modric. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. No, it's Bond and Modric. Sorry, in behind them. So the McLaren and the Porsche, and then there's another Porsche Tax in front of them. But I think this is the great thing about this class battle kind of thing is you're always going to fight somebody. You know what I mean? You're always fighting somebody in and around your pace.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a good thing about this. As Pont just goes that slight bit wide through Pouon, and Modric really just get that little bit closer again through Pouon. In the background, Ossier and Wolford still nose to tail as well. Now the 2 battles out there on the circuit, really. That's again a bit wide for Pont, to be honest. And Modric again gets a little bit closer. So it's going to continue like this for some time, it looks like, through into Stavelot, then Kerpel Frere. Modric is very, very close indeed. Look at, off into the gravel. And he had to get the arms crossed there to save it as well, because that car was going around otherwise from the gravel straight into the wall by the looks of it, in towards Blanchimont. Modric is not close enough. That Porsche sits uncomfortably through the fast left-hander. Modric not able to get through into Bostrop, but he does brake late and he gets straight to the back of him. Wow.
Yeah, that was... I think that was just Rick making a mistake there and braking later than he should have done. I don't think that that was anything, malicious or anything like that. I think he just broke, and that's it, really.
I think so. Don't think there was anything too malicious about that, but even so, not an ideal moment. McLaren will hopefully not have any damage as a result of that, but you do never know. unfortunately. So onto the long back straight they go, the Kemmel straight, that is. They're on to lap 10 out front, by the way. They're still quite a few seconds off these leaders, by the way. So, all these, the back part of the field, sorry, in GT3. So, a bit further away from lapping than I thought. Still 20 minutes in, still no cars having to be lapped just yet.
Yeah, nobody yet, and I don't think they're going to catch them for a while because they're coming down at the moment in time into, where are they, into Marmody before they go through there. And you can see the leaders are only just coming through Lacombe on the right hand side of the track map. Now they're going into No Name, so lots of Wolford's in the wall in the background. William Marshall, what did they do?
Oh, well, okay.
Why have you signalled
nowhere near each other?
I know. I'm just hoping that it's big lock of smoke. I think it could be just the fact he's gone very slow. Nick Marshall, is this you just going very, very slowly indeed?
Might be through the source, or indeed off, straight on at the source, maybe into Gravel. Nope, just slow.
And then we've got Chris Wolford, who's also gone and terminated himself, unfortunately for him.
This is definitely through No Name. Oh dear, locked up the tyres a bit early there to prevent that car from going in the wall. And is it? No, I thought it was almost welded into the wall there briefly, but nope, he's able to get himself out before too long. Did he get himself in front of Nichols and Van Roy, or did they get a free place there?
No,
I don't think they got it free. No, so he had to pass them properly at the end of another lap, at the end of 10 laps, that they can now see the GT3s up in the distance. Just in the last few moments, Nichols has put another half second or so into David Van Roy. And so that's a bit of a nice advantage before traffic. There they are in the background on the front straight.
Yeah, they are at the moment in time. So we're going to keep up and see how Nichols gets on. They've still got a little bit. The GT3 should get to at least halfway round a lap before they start getting lapped again here. And that's Hayden Young leading the GT3s currently, with Tim Probert in behind, and JT in behind that. Brian Dudkowski, whose livery has not decided that it wants to load, with Penel Hanley and Heath Ellinger in there as well. And then it's going to be Mark Ossier and Wolford. I think there's the LMP2. They should get round into Rivage.
Yep. That should be the case, but how is the race going to be interrupted by traffic? Oh, bumped into the wall! He's got it wrong out of Malmedy. He's thrown his front bumper across the racetrack, but that's going to be it for Cody Bont. He's going to have to tow back to pit lane after a crash at Malmedy. That is a real shame for him.
Yeah, I think he's coming out, didn't he, and then hit the curb on the outside. Oh no, he actually hit the curb. Oh, both, inside and outside for Cody, and then straight into the wall, and there goes the flying bumper straight into the path there of Mark Ossier, who's going to go through. And now Ossier is on the through. Bailey and Slane in pit lane.
Interesting call for them to pit so early. I'm not sure there's damage for either of them. But yeah, they've decided really, really early on that they'd want to come into pit lane. If Bailey had left it a lap longer, I would understand it a bit more, so you can do one of your pit stops while avoiding traffic. But even that doesn't really make a lot of sense, to be honest. Anyway, through Curveball Fret comes the race leader. Nichols in the background. He's going to cut these guys at a nice point here on the straight towards Ponchemont, where there's no real time loss at all. And that's the advantage you do get when you're the leader here. You can continue to put cars in between yourself and your closest rival at this point now.
Yeah, and that's the thing for Nichols. That's what he has to do, and he has to do it quick. However, I'd be careful pulling straight in front of some of these GT3s there, buddy, once you go past him. Slane down in 8th, behind Young and Probert, but he's in pit lane once more for Chris Slane. I think that's actually his first one, or it could be his second time through the pits, but you can see Chris there. He is in pit lane at the moment. Nichols running away with it out in front. Chaplin is just going past Slane. Slane's still in pit lane again. And Ossier is also side by side at the moment with David Van Roy. And he's going to go past Chris Lane as well.
Yep. So, onto the Kemmel straight again for these GT3s. Unfortunately, a couple of drivers now going to be falling by the wayside, which is a bit of a shame. 3 seconds now, the lead as Nichols gets down the inside into Lecombe there of another one of those GT3 drivers. And Roy will have to negotiate through the middle sector, which is not particularly ideal. Hayden Young still leads in GT3, by the way. 4.5 seconds is now his advantage. And that is doing quite well, to be honest. Tim Probert is not really closing very quickly, and that is that's good news for Hayden Young.
Yeah, he's not made any gap up at the moment. I think the gap's actually extended the other way. It's now 4.5 seconds for him. Chaplin's got Tidwell in front of him. That's going to be an interesting one to see how Michael Chaplin and Tidwell handle this, especially with the leader coming through in behind them.
And there goes Nichols. Outside line, but that's going to cost him some time and this lap. But as we know, traffic gives and it takes, and we'll just leave him to it for the meantime. Inside line he goes and through ahead of Tidwell. Champlin will get into the slipstream though and look to try and take advantage. It not only helps LMP2s, it can really help these GT3s come through as well. And Michael Champlin is on the inside line now of Tidwell, side by side at the corner. Tidwell crashed not so long ago, and Febroy will have to go through the middle. That won't cost him loads of time, but it will a couple of attempts. Through he goes. Tidwell, in the meantime, just stays in front of Michael Chaplin. And Nichols and Ben Roy, in the meantime, are in for their first pit stop.
Yeah, they've come in first time around as well. Chaplin's still holding on with Tidwell in front of him. They're going to continue their fight. Marc Ossier and Rick Modric are going to also carry on their scrap. So we'll keep an eye out and see how they go here. But JT has got Brian Dudkowski in and around him. There's Brian in the background, and he's looking to close in at the same time. So the race is not completely done with 48 minutes to go, but we're going to have some more as it carries on.
Yeah, not completely done by any means. We will wait and see what continues to happen here as Sawyer goes just a little bit offline there through Lecomte. Who's that went straight on at Malmedy, by the way? Have I misremembered? Or there's wheel tracks through that gravel trap there, which I didn't think I noticed before.
Why is Chris Lane back in pit lane again? Oh.
Here's the answer. Oh, no, not quite. It is the same corner, but he's hit the wall. That's pretty hard.
Yeah, poor old Chris is having a bit of a rough one here. Nick Marshall, I think that's just him going into pit lane. That was Cody Bont went in at Malmedy, didn't he?
No, so that's a bit later on. I think it was Slane parking himself up in the gravel afterwards. So that's the other one for Cody Bont through into the barriers, and that's all fair enough. Carson has continued on for another lap. You can see how much time they lose in a pit stop, by the way. Absolutely massive, even though there's only 27, 28 seconds in the box because they are only taking on a limited fuel tank here in this series. But Carson able to go for one lap longer, it seems, than the others.
Yeah, he seems to be out to at the moment. Fair play to him if he's managed to save any sort of fuel in and around these guys. But he's going to lose that first place. Nichols and Ben Roy going to come straight at him and straight past him. No GT3s in pit lane as of yet. Chaplin still going with Tidwell. They're having a nice little battle here, and it could be another one that could develop quite well.
Yeah, it certainly is. Tidwell versus Chaplin. You've got to imagine that Lamborghini is a little bit damaged after the contact with the wall not that long ago. It's got to be affecting him right now. And Chaplin's closing right up to the back here as a result. A little bit wide through that final chicane. Tidwell just gets it a little bit wrong. Chaplin will try and capitalise on that at the other side, but not going to be able to in towards turn number 1. Tidwell weaves and breaks across on the racing line. Tidwell just about in front for now, but Chaplin will try and use that Mustang power now down the straight to overtake.
Yeah, he should be able to get up on that run into El Rouge, through Radion, and then down the Camel. Chaplin in that powerful Mustang should be able to get the job done here, but again, whether or not he can. What is the speed of the Lamborghini? The Lambo always seems middle of the road. We don't really talk about it as it's a high-paced machine, but it has just managed to stay in front of a Ford Mustang, which we know is high-paced here.
It's not too bad. Yeah. The BOP, of course, always changing as well in RS in between the GT3 cars. I think the Mustang is pretty strong in a straight line. We know that from the... I mean, you can just hear the engine. It just sounds like it would be fast in a straight line, to be honest. A bit wide from Tidwell. and this will allow a bit of a cutback here. Oh, maybe for Champion. He couldn't quite get the nose turned in there. He just had a bit more of a responsive nose, and he could have got an exit off of No Name and maybe a run down into this corner here, but the way it was, he just got a load of understeer there, and that is the feeling I get sometimes when I'm watching the Mustang, I must admit.
Yeah, the Mustang just seems such a house brick. I was talking to an Australian earlier on the broadcast I did, and he drove the Mustang, and he turned around and said, thank God it didn't rain. He said, because this car will turn in the dry, but put it in the rain and it won't turn nothing. He said it's just a boat almost. It just won't turn at all. So that's the thing with the Mustang. It came out, and it came out in a flurry of like, oh, look at me, I'm the new Mustang. But I can't ever see. All that I remember was that old Mustang they had that used to do the production car challenge. Was it the 500? It was, wasn't it, or something they had? So no, I did the broadcast from Matt Malone. I should remember what the blinking car was. And the back end was just all over the place and sliding everywhere, and it was all going wrong and everything else. But I just feel that kind of association with the Mustang is the same with the that one.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm always putting it into my own category. The Mustang. It's such a unique car, such a strange car as well. In some ways, it's so large. I guess it's the way modern cars are going, aren't they? Whenever you just go outside, just look at the cars and think, my goodness, they're large these days. These machines. Anyway, that's the way the Mustang is. It's a real difference to the Lamborghini that it's towering over back there in the battle for what should be 7th place in the race. Unfortunately, 3 drivers already out of the race. One of them is an LMP2 of Chris Slane, who seems to be already out of the race. As we approach half distance, the GT3s won't be that far away from their pit stop, which they'll have to make here as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have got a pit stop coming, but again, this is really hard because the way this is situated in this race. Whoa, whose bumper's that?
Oh.
Do you know? Did you see? There is a bumper out through. Where's second place man? David Van Roy. The bumper was in the middle of the circuit, was it not? Is it still there? No, it's gone now. But there was a. Never mind. Maybe it might be my eyes.
Is it still Cody Bonts from earlier? He's definitely came off around there and went straight into the middle of the circuit. But I can't imagine it would have stayed there for that long. Normally they.
Oh, there's a rear bumper missing off Tidwell there.
Ah, maybe that's it. Yeah, I didn't notice that at all. The Lamborghini looks so just normal without a rear bumper to me. But yeah, it is missing it. Yeah.
But when did he?
I mean, Champion must have just tapped the back of him at some point and just fell off, I suppose. Not really. I don't think it's going to be a big crash to have a look at here. To oh, it's back again now.
What do you mean it's back on again? Oh, blimey.
It's just gone back.
Oh, no. All right. No, the top bit of it's.
And they're all in.
Oh, my God. How bizarre.
Very bizarre. They're all into the pit lane. Modric actually really caught them in the last few moments. But now they're all into the pit lane. If that is a fuel limit for them in terms of how long they could have gone before running out of fuel, are going to be a bit of trouble here, and they're going to have to make an unusual 2-stop race, which you don't see in GT3 too often.
Hold on a minute. They've gone 35 minutes. Yeah?
Oh, 33 and a half.
So they're going to have to try and, if they can fuel save, I'd be very surprised. I don't think young Probert JT Dudkowski, maybe Hanalei, are going to have to pit again. I think they're going to go far enough that their full fuel tank will get them there. But I do believe that the guys that have come in early, they're either going to have to fuel save very well, or they might end up having to make that second stop.
I think they're going to need at least another lap here from these leaders before they are safe in the knowledge that they can make it all the way. I'm surprised they can't make it further than this, to be honest with you. Is it 75% of a tank, or is it much less than that? 66% maybe. We need to check that again. But it's certainly a fuel limit. Obviously, you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be restricted if you use the full fuel tank. What is it?
65 for GT3 and oh my god, so many cars in there. 65 for GT3 and 65 for LMP2, so they're 65%.
Yeah, it's the same. I thought it was the same. So 65. I mean, I was doing a race here at Spa yesterday, so it's very fresh in my memory. About 27 laps was the absolute maximum in a GT3. So basically take a third off of that. That should mean they can do 18 laps, 17 laps maybe to be safe. They're just starting lap 16, these leaders. So I reckon they can do another couple of laps. These guys should be fine. Maybe it was a tactical choice, to be fair, from those three, because as we were commenting on at the time, Tidwell and Champlin had definitely hit each other. There was bodywork happening and all sorts. So I wonder whether they just decided to pit early rather than they had to.
Well, maybe the fact that obviously Tidwell's bumper, well, it was playing Houdini, wasn't it? Oh, hello, don't do that. Tidwell's bumper was on, it was off, it was on, it was off. So, you know, maybe that's why he went in. I don't know if Modric just followed him in to try and cover him off and needed a Champlin. But with 39 minutes to go here, I think Modric's car, Tidwell's car's back together because of the whole fast repair, but everybody else is getting fairly spread out.
They are. And that is to be expected in a long race like this one. Don't forget, if you were with us last season, you're not going mad. This is indeed a longer race this season. We have gone an hour 15 each time rather than 55 minutes, which is what we used to have in the second season of the OGRL Coffee Cup, which is getting on for started a year ago now. Started in July, which we're only 2 months away from now. So there's a bit of a... oh yeah, that's a headache for... everybody who remembers the first race of the season very well. I think it was at Belle Isle, if I remember correctly. I remember it being quite a close finish, quite a good race. Into the final chicane for these guys. Tidwell has got a new driver to defend from now, Rick Modric, who is up to what should be 9th place in the class now.
Yeah, he's moved himself here ahead of Champlin. His pit lane may have had something to do with that. And Champlin was slower, but these guys are just trying to close in on this one. JT has got Brian Dudkowski getting in and around below the second mark. So keep an eye out for this one, because I feel at the moment these could get back together and be very, very close here.
Yeah, it could be on slightly borrowed time here, so with the situation in the races. The two leaders are in. I wonder whether this is the limit, and in that case, then very, very tight for making it to the finish of this race on just one stop, which we've seen so often this season. You see a few more two stops as we do every week in LMP2, but a few more two stops hanging about in GT3. I thought there was damage related and all that kind of thing, but maybe there will be two legitimate fuel stops from these drivers in GT3, because it seems nobody can make it further than about 16 laps this afternoon.
You reckon? You still don't think they could get away with one?
I mean, I think it's going to come down to silly things like how many times they get lapped and all that kind of thing.
No, okay.
I mean, we've only just... when they came in, we hadn't hit the halfway mark yet. I know that everyone says, well, when they leave the pit lane, we are over halfway. Well, yeah, that is true, but that's no good at the end of the race. You know, if you have that at the very end of the race, then you're going to be one lap short, because crossing the line with 20 seconds to go and saying, well, I've nearly made it home, is it's not really good enough.
Well, no, that I get. I understand that, and I get that, but I've never seen it where they've been in danger of two stops. As you can see, Modric running a little bit wide there. Maybe it might be, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, but I'm a little bit surprised. It's only a lap or so shorter than what I was expecting, so it's not too drastic as these guys now get on the brakes for the bus stop chicane. This is the battle headed by Brad Tidwell. I wonder if he's got that damage repaired now. It looks like he has. Looks like he's got a new fresh car in that Lamborghini. So Tidwell is going to be with all his bodywork now attached again, defending from Modric, who I've got to say does look a lot quicker. He's 4/10 quicker last lap. He's actually almost got into Tidwell's head to make a mistake there. Tidwell goes a bit wide, but Modric is going to take advantage maybe down the straight.
Look who's in the background. Look at the mirror on the cockpit mirror. Watch on the left-hand side. It's cost him time. He had to lift there to allow that LMP2 to go through. He had to lift as well because that LMP2 caught him right at the base on the run up through Al Rouge. Now he's going to have to try and get back again on him. Chaplin, I'm surprised, didn't get closer, to be honest with you. It's like Federer on the throttle coming into Malmedy. They're going to be back very, very shortly, close together. It does look to me, though, the Lamborghini's literally only just got that yellow strip as a bumper, mind you, or that silver strip.
That's what I mean. It looks so normal to me without a bumper that I just didn't really notice it. Oh, Champlin! Big spin for Michael Champlin in the Mustang. Oh, and that was Carson, I think, who had to skip past him in the LMP2. That will cost him a little bit of time. But Michael Champlin has gone for a spin through No Name Corner. Didn't really do anything wrong particularly, just let go on him there.
Yeah, very bizarre moment, to be honest, for Michael Champlin there. It just sort of gave way on its own. He's going to have to go again to try and catch up with Rick and Brad here to see if he can make his way forward. But Alfie Nichols out in front by 12 seconds. Bailey 30 seconds behind them. Roy Marshall a bit further back. As the gap standings, everybody in the GT3s is 1 lap down. Carlson is 1 minute 22 behind him currently. So Carlson just managing to hold on to that same lap pace.
Yep. We've still got 5 LMP2s in the race. And still 11 GT3s after our 3 retirements. Greg Tax, Chris Slane and Cody Bont all out this afternoon. All in the first sort of half an hour or so of the race. As we approach half an hour to go now in this race, we've seen everybody into the pit lane once. I suspect we could see everybody into the pit lane again before the finish. We're certainly going to see the LMP2s in. Have to every time make 2 pit stops. But how many of those GT3s are we going to see into the pit lane? Again, it's going to be very, very close and could depend on how many times they get lapped and how many laps Alfie Nichols forces everybody to do in this race. So that's very, very difficult to sort of account for when you are a GT3 driver in this race.
Yeah, because you never quite know what pace Alfie's going to be at, or then Roy or Bailey or whoever is going to be at here. And this is the thing, you can't come into the race and go, right, I'm guaranteed going to be at least 2 laps down, so I only need this much amount of fuel. It's never going to happen. You just don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. So, you know, I drive until it's empty and then fill it back up again. That would be my philosophy, Ewan, to be honest with you. My fuel management and fuel saving is quite shocking.
It's quite hard. It's much easier when you're in traffic like this, I find. You can save a lot of fuel without even really thinking about it. Just by trying to avoid crashes, you just end up lifting off a bit earlier, braking a bit earlier, and that all helps. But other than that, it's very difficult to do. Oh, a half look down the inside. Got to be a bit more decisive than that there. That was Scott Carson, sorry. Mentioned Scott Carson came through earlier on. I think it was Nicholas Marshall actually who had to just get past a bit of the spin earlier. But anyway, whoever it was. They all avoided Michael Champlin, who went for that spin earlier on. Roderick now with no pressure behind him as he begins to attack Tidwell. That will be good news for him as well. Doesn't have to do any defending. He can do all sorts of different lines that he wants to here if he wants to make this move.
Yeah, Modric's just got to find a way through. He's putting him under pressure here. Don't get me wrong, they've got Ollinger who's a bit further up the road, right? Whether or not they're likely to catch him. Modric now pokes his nose out again. Tidwell says, well, come on then, if you're going to come through, come through. And he didn't. But William Bailey, what have you got yourself up to here? This is the bus stop. In that lovely looking LMP2, did he just... Ooh.
Too late. And then had to pit from there.
Oh,
he tried to... He knew that the tight angle was going to be too tight and he was going to get stuck, so he had to go for a wide angle, but then his angle was so wide he got in the grass, and then he finally got into pit lane.
Yeah, he got that all a little bit wrong, didn't he, in the pit lane entry there. But I think for Bailey, he's gone in, got done. That should be his last... maybe his last one, half an hour. Could be the last one for LMP2, so I think it's only going to be one more for them. here. Whether or not it's one more for the GT3s, we think is going to be very, very close indeed. I wonder if Modric or anybody like that is actually fuel saving. It might be better, no offence here, Rick, to go and have a look and see what sort of Hayden Young's doing. Keep an eye on the red lights in the front there.
Let's just listen to what happens here into the bus stop. Well, doesn't look like much fuel saving to me.
No. There was no change in volume. There was no dip. There was no clutching in or anything like that.
It's straight off the power, straight onto the brakes.
Yeah, I don't think he is, to be honest with you, Ewan. I don't think they're doing much fuel saving whatsoever.
No, I don't think so. And so, Ed Young will be either accepting the fact he's going to make 2 pit stops, or he is going to be hoping for the laps to fall the right way. Alfie Nichols, we really should have noted down when they got lapped for the first time. But don't forget, a lot of these guys got lapped for the first time while they were in the pit lane because of some clever strategy from some of the LMP2s. So it's going to be very, very difficult to work out how many times they're going to be lapped. To add to the complication for us here, obviously each individual driver will only have their own race to think about in GT3, and that's just the way that it is. But for us here, it's going to be even harder to work out because don't forget, Alfie Nichols is going to lap some of them for a third time, but not all of them before the finish.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting now for Alfie what and how he plays this and how he's going to handle this. There's still 2-minute 9s or 2-minute 10s in the LMP2, so technically, effectively, can he get 133 to Carson? Possible that Nichols might be able to get everybody in his own class up to Carson Marshall. Maybe Ben Roy might be the only person who might not get lapped by Alfie.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's, again, all to add into those complications over the course of the race. Also remembering that if these GT3s are making 1 stop compared to the LMP2s making 2, that will mean a lot less people get lapped again because the pit lane is so long. So much to work out here. Speaking of pit stops, by the way, they can't actually be that far away for the leaders now. They managed 13 laps at most. Scott Carlson managed 13 laps at most in that first stint, and so that means they will be pitting in 2 or 3 laps time, rather, will Alfie Nichols. That'll be his final stop of the race before bringing it home. And in this middle stint, he's just extended that advantage over David Van Roy to a pretty good degree, actually. Just over 15 seconds his advantage. That's comfortable.
Yeah, it is. And he can sort of just sit back and chill out as well and just drive round and have some fun. It must be quite lonely here. Do you know what I mean? With the fact that he is just sort of running around on his own. How do you entertain yourself?
Well, I mean, a lot of people stick on a bit of music.
I can't do that. Like,
no?
I can't drive with music. No. How do you not do it? It's annoying. It would drive me bonkers. Annoying? Yeah, I just, because I can't hear the engine, and then I can't. If
it's done too loud.
If I don't concentrate on what I'm doing from the moment I get behind the wheel, I end up doing all sorts of funky stuff.
I feel like you need to just put the music on a bit quieter, and then it's
yeah, but why would you have music on when you're being racing? Do you have music on?
Not normally. I mean, it's just to your point about if you're driving on your own here and you haven't got much else to do. In a normal race, I wouldn't have music on, no, almost ever. But if it's a pretty long race like this one is, if there's not much to do in the way of battling and whatever, obviously you've got lap traffic to keep yourself entertained if you're Alfie Nichols here. But but for the most part, not much to do. Then I would do very quietly underneath, almost so that you almost can't hear the music and you can mostly hear the engine for the reasons you say there, if you can't hear the engine, you'd be surprised suddenly, when you don't have it, surprised how much sound is a factor in your driving.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't really have music on. Let us know if anybody is here and listening to this, whether or not you do have music on while you're racing, or do you not? Well, let us know down in the comments below if you do watch this back, of course. But yeah, I've never been one for having music. I can't concentrate with it. Maybe that's just because I'm old and I can't do two things at the same time. I'm not sure.
We'll have to see what the verdict is from everybody else on that. Looks to me like Brian Dukowski has been off the road. I noticed when we were following Nichols there through the Lecombe section, there was loads of gravel on the circuit and there were some donuts in the gravel itself as well. And I have a feeling this is why. Under a bit of pressure from an LMP2, it wasn't contact with that LMP2, but Dukowski was no doubt distracted there. He sends himself straight off the road.
Yeah, unfortunately for Brian Dukowski, around he goes and he drops all the way down to 6th in class at the moment. So for him, he is now 6th in class for Dukowski and trying to make his way forward. Everybody's fairly spread out at the moment here, guys, as well. So, yeah, not a lot really that I can bring you.
Not for the moment. Carson into the pit lane for his second stop of the day. He went longest in the first stint, but he's not interested in doing much of a run this time round. Only 9 laps, actually, as opposed to the 13 he did first time round. If Nichols does another 12-lap stint, then he'll be in at the end of this lap with 22 minutes to go to put some more fuel in and bring it all the way home. Should be about 20 seconds worth of fueling. Maybe he'll put a second or two more just to be on the safe side. But final pit stop coming up very, very soon for Alfie Nichols here as he continues to lead at Spa.
Yeah, he's absolutely just dominated, isn't he, Alfie, at this moment in time? He's not shown any problems, any fear, any moments. He's just got in the car and disappeared. So fair play to him.
He's done a very good job indeed. Nichols through again on Tidwell on that occasion. Tidwell not quite able to get past Dukowski despite his spin. He's actually got rid of Rick Modric quite well as well. Modric was going to be a bit more threatening, actually. Make a move at some point during this part of the race, but clearly not. He's not anywhere near Tidwell anymore. Well, second and a half. So Modric is not going to be enjoying 7th place in the not too distant future. Other battles that are close, well, that is the closest one in the race. I have a feeling that Dukowski is going to get closer to Ollinger before the finish here, but the gap is nearly 4 seconds as it stands.
Yeah, it is at the moment for Brian Dukowski. He's closing down on the BMW, Heath Ollinger's BMW as well. Isn't Heath normally in a Porsche?
Maybe he was last season, in the season 2.
Sure he was in a Porsche, wasn't he? Pretty sure he was. But yeah, great job from Heath here as well. I think the thing is with this season, I would, to be fair, if I was driving in this season and I was in the GT3, I would literally probably just each week take a different car. Purely because queuing up or getting ready for the following season, I would want to know which car I'm quick in and which car I'm not quick in. So for me, I would literally just take a different car every week and have a go in whatever cars you own. Like, you know, because obviously you don't go buying cars.
You own them all?
No, I can't do.
You probably do.
No, I do not. I don't think so. Do I? No.
I do.
Do you own them all?
Oh no, I only own the BMW, to be honest. I don't want to buy any more.
What do I own?
For the Spa 24 Hours 2 years ago. And haven't bought any other GT3 since.
Alright, so BMW, Dallara P217, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Porsche and Corvette. So I don't own the Audi, the Mustang, the Acura or the Lamborghini.
Surprised you. I thought I'd have you down as driving the Mustang quite regularly.
No, I'm more of a Corvette man than a Mustang man.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I can understand the Audi. It's only a Evo version of the previous one. I think that previous one was an Evo version of the previous one to that. So it's just getting updated. Unfortunately, Audi very much stepping away from sports car racing in the real world, so we're not going to be getting any new GT3 Audis anytime soon, or Audi anything really. It's focusing more on Formula One these days.
There'll be one less that they're going to chuck at us and charge us for.
Oh, so you could look at it like that.
Oh, of course it is. I don't want
Just
another
don't want
GT3.
any more GT3s.
No,
Rest.
I don't want GT3s, dude. I don't want any more. I want TCRs. I want updated TCRs. You know? I want...
Nobody else wants TCRs, unfortunately. It seems.
Everybody wants them.
For free.
Well, no, not for free, but just relaunch the series. Give us something. You know what I mean? Other than one, I was talking to Dave Hernandez, who's the TCR community manager, and he says he literally asks them every single week, like, what's going on? Are we getting new TCRs or something like that? And it just doesn't look like we are.
Well, I'm not entirely surprised, to be honest. I've seen how I've seen how well attended the current TCR series is in the officials.
But that's because there isn't any. We've got Audi that doesn't even take part anymore. You know, and you've got to think that if there were new ones, then obviously there would be more people in there.
Feels like a bit of a chicken and egg situation there. Nobody's going to go and do TCRs because there aren't anything new, and Iris are not going to make any new TCRs because nobody's doing the series currently. Well, which is going to come first, or which came first rather, or back in time? I don't know. It feels like those two. You know what I mean? I don't know what
you're saying, but I just think that they should look at it and actually try and, you know, give a TCR, and then people might actually come back to the series. But just not giving us nothing and extending sessions just so we can get, you know, another GT3 in there is just a little bit bonkers.
Well, it's the most popular. It's the most popular car class in motorsport, I would say, at the moment, especially among sports car racing. So, yeah, I think next on the list is certainly more hypercars, GTPs that are coming up next. Bailey and Marshall have just gone side by side, by the way. William Bailey, so he's gone through into into Pit Path. So I misread that completely. He's they're around a different part of the circuit, but that's a nice move for Bailey. You'd expect that as well. Bailey had a much longer stop for whatever reason second time round. Might have even had a speeding penalty because it was a minute stop. But anyway, he's certainly quicker than Nick Marshall.
Yeah, but for these guys, they're at a different kind of pace, aren't they? Bailey seems to be a lot quicker than Mr. Marshall, who you'll see him in an SR8 as of next Monday here on a Monday night. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Coming along to the
Very
SR8s. Good. Yeah, it should be good. They got 26 of them, I think, at the moment. So
very good.
Yeah, should be good. Are you joining that one?
I'm thinking about it, actually. Yeah, I'll think about it. I haven't got the SR8 and I've never driven it.
It's a legacy. You'll be all right.
So that could be a bit of a problem. Yeah, I'll think about it. Definitely. Would be good to join because as I say, I'm not doing anything on Mondays these days, and I would like to start a bit of league racing. So yeah, why not? Although there's about 1 million leagues happening every night these days, isn't it? You've got a lot to choose from.
Yeah, you have, but it's what you're going to enjoy, isn't it? You know what I mean? I think a lot of time with league racing, I think that's the thing with most people is they don't they pick a league because they hear it's full up or, you know, it's really good, but then they don't enjoy it because they're pulling their hair out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, very much depends on a lot of things in that regard. Oh dear, a bit wide for Scott Carson there as he just continues to run in fifth position. See if he can chase down Nicholas Marshall here at all before the finish of this race. You didn't sound like you were very pleased to have any more GTPs.
No, I'm about as excited as them for GT3s. This is what I mean. Do they not do your bananas in? Like, do you not sit there and think, the thing is as well, because they work to the same specs when building, they're all generally coming out looking exactly the same, apart from a different badge that goes, oh, I'm a Ferrari, or oh, I'm an Acura, or I'm a Porsche, or I'm a, the Valkyrie might be the only thing different because it's got more wings than a pigeon. You know what I mean? And on the back end. But other than that, it's all the same. Go to look at some of the TCRs, look at some of the other series, the WRX. Them cars in the dirt road don't even probably exist anymore. There's loads of different series that need updating in iRacing. Or if you're not going to bother I update them, just scrap them all together, because you're just spreading your player base across series that barely ever go official. You know what I mean? Do something else with them. If not, stop throwing GT, because now we're have to have the session extended to 16 cars just to make sure we can get more GTPs in. It's like, if you want to be a GTP GT3 series, just call yourself LMU and have done with it. That's my argument.
I don't know.
Do you not think at all?
GT3s, by the way, don't all look the same. They're very different.
If I showed you different cars, apart from obviously you who knows about it, if I put these on the car, if I put these on the table to my wife and went, which one's the Ferrari? She'll go, I don't know, they all look the same. And I'll go, exactly. So you ain't gonna.
Obviously, it's hard to tell what manufacturer it is without the badge.
Yeah, there's no distinguishing features between them, is there?
There are distinguishing features.
Oh, give over.
First of all, you could to give the example of the first GTP that was added. You can tell the BMW's got the BMW grille even in the dark.
Yeah, but that's to me that's fine, because the BMW does stand out, but everything else just kind of meh. You know what I mean? And I just want to see different, dude. You know what I mean? Like, just look at the BTC TCRs. They're so nice. Or even the American series. There's new ones in the American series. The Audi doesn't even race anymore. The Elantra doesn't race anymore. The Honda doesn't race anymore. The Veloster there's now an updated Evo version as such racing in the American TCR. So in retrospect, we've only got one that's still actually racing. The rest of them don't even race anymore. Not even in the American series. So, yeah. And WRX, well, we might as well give up talking about dirt road, because none of the cars are probably even participating. And
I've got no idea, to be honest. I don't follow these things.
Yeah, and them slapping a GT3 and another GTP on us just because, they want people to go and buy another one. If you aren't going to update a series, just shut it down and have done with it.
Looking through, by the way, the list of eligible TCRs, all the cars in RS still are eligible.
They're not racing.
The Audi won in 2023. Is that the last season they did?
What, the Audi TCR?
The RS3, yeah.
Which series? Was it the American series?
What does it say? Awarded for the most successful TCR car across a year by the organisers of TCR series across the world, apparently. I've never heard of that before. There you go.
There you go. So much success since its introduction in TCR category in 2016. Second generation entry level from Audi Sport Customer Racing made its debut in 2021. So that was the last time it actually made a debut, was in 2021. I can't actually find whether or not it's still racing or not. I don't know, but yeah, the Audi out there. But this is the thing. I think it just needs updating. Somebody sit down and work with the BTCC and give us, the BMW and all the other nice cars that are there. I don't know.
It probably would be nice to have some more variety, but yeah, as we know, RSN are a little bit on the slower side as far as making cars goes, and releasing them as well. I think also there's the risk that people don't want to get it either, especially at that car's racing on its own in its own series. Again, I think it's people don't generally go out to buy it, so it's difficult for them to go and make it, as it were, as well. Get much more back from putting more tracks into the game, which, to be fair, they have done a better job of in the last year or two. Certainly got all the iconic tracks now. There was a long time where they didn't even have that, but now they've got pretty much all the iconic tracks they could need, and they're releasing 2 or 3 every season now as well.
Yeah, but why have we got all these series in iRacing if we're not going to do anything with them?
I don't know. I don't race in many of the series. To be honest, I do the ones that I like and then go home. So I don't particularly pay too much attention to it, to be honest. But anyway, 10 minutes to go in this race here at Spa, and either way, Alfie Nichols is still leading the way by a very long way. 10 minutes. He's going to have 5 laps in that case remaining in the race. He'll cross the line with about 1 minute and a half left when he takes the white flag a little bit later. So 5 laps to go. How many of the GT3s is he going to get past? I don't think he's going to get past Ewan and Probert, so they're going to have 5 laps to go at the line as well. They're only going to go 1 lap down, by the looks of it to me. Can they make it all the way at home? Because that would mean their race is 33 laps, and they only did 16 laps in the first stint of the race. They're going to need to save a lap of fuel compared to what they did in the first stint.
Yeah, but we're going to find out whether or not they are going to only have to do 1 stop. I think the GT3s are still borderline 1 stop. I don't think they're going to have to. They've come in for 2 stops. No, they have only done 1. Sorry, I was reading the LMP2s. So they've only done 1, and I think they'll be able to last for that 1 stop. So fair play to them for lasting. We did get it a little bit wrong.
I'm not quite certain yet, to be honest. I'm just going to wait for the moment. Even if they do the same strategy here, Young and Probert, then it's going to be a close race between the 2 of them, or if they do, rather, because it's not certain. There's Marc Ossier, meanwhile, making a second stop. Young is only just in front of Tim Probert at the moment. 1.6 seconds is the margin, and if they do the same strategy, it's going to be quite a close finish, but Young has done a very good job in holding on for the moment, and the 2 have been miles quicker than the rest. They're 43 seconds ahead of 3rd.
Yeah, they're absolutely flying, aren't they? Let's be real about it. It is sort of a young Probert situation. Tim is coming up to him here and going to have a good old go at him. And he hasn't got long, but he's got long enough to be able to close that gap, and he has closed quite a lot here at the same time. So fair play to Probert from last. Is he going to get first? Well,
I think he's going to just fall short, personally, but we've still got time remaining. Michael Champlin's just in the way now. He's going to pull out the way here. He knows that there's a leading battle coming through here. Carlson has also caught up to Nick Marshall as well before the end here. I'm not sure how he's ended up behind him in the first place, actually, but Marshall's just handed that place over to him. He's gone off the circuit, Marshall, at turn 1. Again, similar mistake as to what we've seen time and time again here this afternoon. And that is how 4th place changed, very simply.
Yeah, it's going to go flying in here, isn't it? And he's just going to go and run it wide. Can't get it rotated onto the gravel, and through you go. So Nick Marshall is going to have his job cut out for him to catch up with Scott Carson. 3.1 seconds up the road at the moment.
1.8 for the lead in GT3. Going to be a close finish there. But Nichols is going to get past a few more of these GT3s before the finish. I think he's going to get past Jim Sawyer and Pernod Hanno as well. So everybody apart from the 2 leaders. Is that going to mean the 2 leaders will have to stop and the others will just come through and take the victory maybe? I don't know what happens here if that's going to be the case. There's so many unknowns, but they're going to have to do 1 lap longer than what they managed in the first stint, which is going to be, I think, pretty tricky for them. Nichols has got 26 seconds, by the way, at the front of the race, so he'll be very, very comfortable of winning this one.
Oh, he's just absolutely dominated, isn't he? He's just gone and drove the socks off that car and driven around. I'm not sure if I was Heath Ollinger, I would be slowing as much as I am with an ever-looming Acura of Brian Dukowski in behind us, because he did slow down to allow the traffic through. He did lose a bit of time there. He's going to have to be careful. We'll keep an eye on that one as well.
But you should just do what you were doing. Stay on your own speed. Certainly in terms of your race pace, it's a better idea anyway. Bukowski now going to have to do the same as Marshall comes through from 5th position in LMP2, and will likely do the same to Heath Ollinger as well here. Quite a busy end to the race for the LMP2s. getting past these GT3s for a second time this afternoon. As I mentioned earlier, the fact they make 2 stops and lose so much time means they really don't have very much lapping to do here compared to some of the other circuits we've seen this season, like Imola. A lot shorter of a circuit in this season. Ollinger again has to just pull out the way there a little bit, and look at that, half a second. Dukowski getting real close now. This last spot inside the top 10 overall, and he gets nowhere off the exit at the corner there, Ollinger. Dukowski is right there now.
Yeah, Dukowski's going to tuck right in behind him. He's going to use that pace of that Acura to go and probably slingshot his way through. However, the BMW's not a slouch. Which way is he going to go, though, for Dukowski? That's going to be the question.
I still think it's a little bit slower than the Acura with the slipstream especially, and so Dukowski is going to get through, and Ollinger doesn't fight him too deep into the corner either. Just lets off a little bit there, and Dukowski goes through into the top 10 now, but more importantly into the top 5 in class. That is a bit of a recovery, of course, after his spin at Lecom quite a few minutes ago now.
I'm surprised he let him go with ease, or so much ease, I should say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, might put up more of a fight there from Hull Heap.
But there we go. Decided that it wasn't worth the battle. And he will finish outside the top 5 by the looks of things. Unless he's thinking about his fuel or something as well. I don't know what he's thinking about. But he is, he's let Dukowski through. 1.7 seconds between the top 2 in GT3. And they go on to 3 laps to go. Alfie Nichols is just coming through into the final sector now to take 2 laps to go here. It's a bit of a nail-biter in GT3 still.
Yeah, we've got to find out if Probert's going to have the pace. It's about 1.7 back at the moment. It's quite interesting because he got all the way back up to Alfie and then sort of he's got within that second mark and then hasn't really gone any closer. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing for Tim Probert. He just kind of got to Alfie Young and then stopped.
And Bailey are exchanging places again, by the way, in LMP2 rather, into the final chicane. And this is Bailey on the outside line in towards turn 1. He's got that wrong. He's broken a bit too forcefully on the rear brakes there. He got it all out of control, and Carson goes straight through on the inside.
Yeah, it says thank you very much for that. He didn't need a second invitation, did he? Scott Carson, if you're going to leave the door wide open, does look like Chris Wolford's had a little bit more drama. Try and not compound that young man's misery, but Will Bailey there made a big old mistake for him. Michael Chaplin is running side by side with Wolford. We might have to actually have a look at Wolford and find out how he ended up quite as close as he has done.
He was miles ahead before, so let's see what happened.
Ooh.
This is the bus stop chicane.
Ooh.
And he's up over the curb on the inside before getting on the power, and that's how he spun around. It's going to take him a very long time to get turned back round again.
When you sit there and you feel like something's going to happen and you're like, oh, go on, keep going. Oh, Chaplin nearly lost it as well in the background there. That was quite interesting. But yeah, so that's how basically Wolford and Chaplin ended up together. 2 minutes 22. We're going to finish off this one, and then there's going to be the final lap of the race.
Yeah, there is. For these two, a couple more. So they've not started their penultimate lap just yet because they are just in front of Nichols. In fact, it's going to be the last battle pretty much that we watch it when it comes to the line. And in fairness, they haven't got the GT3 leaders themselves, their class leaders, very far in front of them either here, actually. Looking at this now. So it's going to be a couple of battles towards the line at the very end, almost one after the other. 2.3 seconds between the top two. Young and Probert out front in GT3. Hayden Young doing a very good job at just holding on and keeping Tim Probert at bay by a comfortable margin. He only started when Probert got to second. The gap was only 5 seconds. He's only lost 3 seconds in that time period. Don't forget that started with 1 hour 5 to go as Nichols comes out the final corner to take the white flag.
Yeah, final lap of the race here for Alfie Nichols. Great job from him. So he's gone over the line and literally dominated, isn't he? You can't really say a lot about a young man who's just put everybody into the get good kind of category at the moment, because he's just demolished the opposition, hasn't he, really, when it comes to it. But now Hanalei, however, we'll keep an eye on where Alfie's going. He's on his way up through El Rouge Chevalier, and Hanalei chasing down on OJT in front at the moment.
Yes. And it will be their final lap now as well. They will have taken the white flag alongside Alfie Nichols there. So these two have got that very much to worry about at the moment as they go down in towards Lecombe again. And they break late enough, actually, in time for the chicane. Sawyer stays in front of Hanno into the most important and the best overtaking chance of the whole lap. Out of the Corporal Frere now, the leaders in GT3 are coming, so they're at the end of the second sector, while these two are at the start. And there's a big decision to make here for Hayden Young and Tim Probert. They're going to have to do one more lap. The white flag will be showing for them this time round. Do they come into pit lane? Here they come through Blanchemont now. Have they got enough laps to go, the fuel rather, to go one more lap than they managed in the first stint of this race, or do they have to come into pit lane? Through the final corners, Young can carry on and Probert can as well. They've saved enough fuel.
Yeah, so that answers that question that we were fearing there, whether or not they would have to come in for a quick splash and dash, and the answer is no, they do not. So great job from them guys managing to save fuel, because otherwise they would have run out the lap before. But Alfie Nichols now, not many corners today on a run down Blanchemont.
What a great drive again from Alfie Nichols. He's been so dominant this season, and he's done it again here. He has been leading every lap here this afternoon, apart from the one that was because of the pit stop cycle, the first pit stop cycle of the day. Other than that, he's been absolutely out front the whole time. Alfie Nichols out of the final corner. He's going to win in round 4 of the OGRL Coffee Cup here in the LMP2. A pretty dominant overall victory for him. Further on in the background, not too far across the line there, Sawyer and Hanno right side by side almost, and it's Sawyer who just about sneaks over in third.
Yeah, he does. So great job from him. Hayden Young and Tim Probert got to go one more. They've got round through No Name before they go into Pouon, but there is a back marker in front of Hayden Young there. I'm not quite sure who that is. Who is that? That's Rick Modric. So I don't think Modric is going to get himself involved here, but you never can tell.
No. Let's see, Modric's going to still stay in front here through the middle sectors. Going to make Hayden Young a little bit nervous. But he's continuing on in this way, Modric. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I just think Young will be a bit nervous about it. 1.7 seconds. The gap continues to just come down here into the final corner. The final corner before the straight towards Blanchemont. Tidwell slowing as well here. I wonder whether he's out of field in the Lamborghini, not sure, but he's certainly slowing down Tidwell, and that's giving Modric an extra place. It might give Champlin and all the others in behind a place as well here, as Young comes down the inside and he'll get through into the fast left-hander. He's just going to avoid the wall, and he will take the win here in GT3, despite doing one lap longer than the rest of the field, and therefore needing an extra lap of fuel. He has been able to manage it just about. Young will probably be pretty much empty now in that McLaren, but he has taken the win, just holding off Tim Probert in a very good drive indeed. Only losing a few seconds over the course of over an hour of driving. Brad Tidwell is still stopped, and he has run out of fuel by the looks of it in that Lamborghini, and he's getting a push.
Oh, very good. Who's that, number 2?
Bailey.
Yeah.
Don't let him get too slow, otherwise this could be tricky.
Reminds
Quite
me.
heavy.
Is that LMP2 up in the air?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
I can't really see. Who's this? Doesn't look like it's up in the air, does it? It's like it's hooked itself up here. I would drive at full speed now and just let him go. There we go.
Oh, not quite. Yeah, he has got brakes, you know.
I know, but it still would be fun, wouldn't it? No
you
brakes.
imagine you're sending a kid down a hill on a bicycle or something.
Yeah, but no brakes. Do you know what I mean? Or putting somebody inside of a tyre and rolling them down.
Yes. Anyway, Alfie Nichols has taken the race victory here in round 4 at Spa, lapping everybody apart from Ben Roy, as you predicted. Scott Carson gets onto the podium ahead of Marshall at the end. Hayden Young and Tim Probert in the end get ahead of William Bailey, who stopped to help Brad Tidwell get over the line. Fair play to him for that. Jim Sawyer rounds off the podium in GT3. Upeno Hanno just missing out. Brad Dukowski rounds out the top 5. Heath Ollinger was next ahead of Richard Modric, and that wasn't very far apart, those two. Michael Champlin finishes in 13th place ahead of Chris Walford, with Brad Tidwell running out field to the line, but he did get pushed over the line. Followed by Marc Ossier, who was the last driver to finish. Chris Chris Lane and Cody Pont round out the field here today. Will Bailey has actually come to join us as well in the for an interview, so we will have a bit of a chat with him. Welcome in, Will. Good to have you with us. Good to chat to you. Tell us a bit about what was going on at the end there with Brad.
Oh, he ran out of fuel, and I had already blown my race because I'm a bonehead. So I was like, "Hey, I'll push you, man. Let's go."
It's very, very kind of you to get him over the line. As you say, at 7th place overall in the end, actually finished behind overall a couple of T3s. How did you find that race tonight?
Oh man, it was great, man. Like it was a good race. Had a lot of fun. I had a little problem with my pit stops, apparently, but other than that, man, like good, clean racing all around, man. I really appreciate all the guys, taking care for LMP2s and not taking each other out, that kind of stuff, giving space, just good manners all around.
Well, absolutely. Well, congratulations and thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us. I should say for this race here today. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
You guys for doing a phenomenal job as always. I love watching the race afterwards. I would also like to thank Bradley Lovings, the man, the myth, the legend. Hopefully he comes back from his little sabbatical soon, and my wife, and that's it, man.
Hope he stops fishing.
Absolutely.
That's what he's doing at the moment.
Yeah, fishing.
He's fishing.
Yeah. Fish are
As if
important.
that can only be done on Sunday morning, but whatever. Anyway, well, thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us, and hopefully, again, we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, gents. Later.
Thanks very much. Will Bailey there chatting to us at the end of tonight's race at Spa. Scott Carlson finished in 3rd place LMP2. We'll stay with that class just for the moment. Congratulations, Scott, on a podium here this afternoon. Just 8 seconds in front of Marshall at the end. Had to make a couple of moves towards the end. Just tell us a little bit about that final run in that race, final 20 minutes or so.
Well, I was first time driving this car on this track was this morning, so I got a little bit of practice. And I was just trying to find some speed in any corner. I couldn't keep up with Alfie and David. Some of the other guys were just way fast. I really didn't want to make any mistakes and find as much speed for me. And keep it on the track. I only had 20 points out of 24, so Alfie gave me a nice little tap there, but he wanted to go, but that's all right.
How is it being in a class with the likes of Alfie and David, so strong, so quick in these cars? And there are some people in the LMP2 class, for example, who haven't driven this car very much. How demoralising or not is it to be in a class with them?
It makes me realize that you are not fast, sir. I mean, I grew up, in law enforcement. I was driving a car, and then in the Army, I was always driving something. And I thought I could drive until I got on here and saw these kids race. Alfie is something. David's quick. I really like to go and follow their lines and really try to learn from them as much as I can. But it's without fanboying them. Yeah, they're freaking fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on finishing on the podium.
Thank you, sir.
Nevertheless,
Thanks,
Scott, is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
The wife upstairs. We got a new puppy a couple weeks ago. I got to go tend to the chickens now. So, just the wife will let me do this every Sunday without giving me too much gruff.
All right. Thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us, Scott, and congratulations on 3rd.
Thanks, sir. Gentlemen, thank you, guys.
Much. That's Scott Carlson, who has finished in 3rd place here tonight at Spa in at LMP2. Alfie Nichols has now come to join us, so we can have a chat with him as well. Alfie, congratulations on another win. How did you find it out there this afternoon?
Yeah, it was a good one. It's Spa. I think everyone knows Spa. Everyone's driven Spa before, so it's pretty good racing around there. It was good. Venroy was there this week, which was really good. Someone to at least have a little bit of competition with. No shade to anyone else there, but it was a really fun race.
We were talking a little bit about actually how you stay concentrated in a race like this, because you were leading by some way, but by the end, 27 seconds at the end. How do you stay concentrated when there's not much happening around you like that?
I think it really helps. When I do these races, I'm normally in a chat with JT in the GT3 class. We end up just chatting for it, if I'm honest, and we end up almost forgetting we're racing sometimes. And that definitely helps. Keeping the pressure low, making sure you don't make that many mistakes, and all around just supporting each other through it. And that's a massive help, I think.
Well, there you go. There's the advice. Chat away with somebody else when you're driving out front. That's the big story. Congratulations again on winning Alfie. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
As always, my mum. Hopefully, she should be there for the mum's race later on today.
Can you send me your details with your ID, sir?
Yes, I can. I will send them over.
I need to add them into the broadcast, otherwise we're going to see a whole load of boys' names.
Yes, I will send them over.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Well, so a little bit later on. Alfie, thanks for chatting to us again, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much. Alfie Nichols there winning tonight here in LMP2. Let's go down to GT3 now. I've made Hayden Young wait a little bit, so sorry for that. But well done, Hayden. Congratulations on the win. 2 seconds, the gap at the end, even less than that actually, back to Tim. I'm sure you will have noticed Tim got up to second place with about an hour and 5 left, and you held him off with a very small lead for the whole time. How are you feeling after that one?
Mate, that was a warm one. That was a warm one. I was on. I'm on Discord chat with Tim all the time. He's my teammate, you see. So, he's quick. He's quick around there. I knew he was going to be quick, so I had to try and run off at the start there. But we did the MEC last week, come third in the championship, just me and Tim, and yeah, I knew he was fast.
In the end, you were able to hang on. How was the McLaren around here? We obviously talk about that again. Used to seeing you in the Porsche.
Usually in the Porsche, but I thought I'd give the McLaren a go this week. It's a okay car. It's a bit too loose at the back for me, but I'll round there. It's really nice. It's really nice for the thing. But it's okay. It's okay. It's not my favourite. Porsche's still my favourite. So
Corvette next week then.
Did you know what? Where is it? Is it Road Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I think either Porsche or I might give the Corvette a go. I'll just try another. I might just try the Mustang.
Yeah, go on. I would love to see at least somebody try and steer it correctly.
I'll try it. I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go.
Does it fit through Road Atlanta? I mean,
I don't know.
Anyway,
you got a couple of extra inches there, don't you?
We'll look forward to seeing which car you're in next time out. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, everyone watching. I think my daughter's watching. I'm not sure who was in YouTube chat this week. And everyone else. Tim for coming second. Absolutely lightning. And you two guys, absolutely fantastic. Have a good weekend.
Are you going to get your daughter in the mother's wives race this afternoon?
I said that. I said she can do it if she wants, but I live a good few miles away from her. I might go get her actually. Shall I enter her in?
Yeah, send me your details with your ID and I'll add her in if you're going to get her.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll try.
All right, mate. No dramas.
Okay. All right, mate. Cheers, mate.
Thanks very much. See you again next week or sooner.
Will do. Take care.
There's Hayden Young there, chatting to us at the end of the day in first place in GT3 and a great win from him as well today. I think Tim would have been favourite by a long shot there when he got through into second with an hour and 5 left, but Hayden Young able to hold on. And another round down of the OGRL Coffee Cup. I think a couple of good races to the finish there, but again, quite through the middle of one of these. The difference between top and bottom in LMP2 does just seem so large, and you got guys like Alfie Nichols and David Van Roy who are so experienced in that car, and then others who plainly aren't quite as experienced either.
Yeah, that's the thing. You've got multiple different capabilities, multiple different skill levels. It does look like we're going to have 10 plus cars of mums and wives later.
Yeah.
Should be a good one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I won't be there, but we'll be live here on this channel in a couple of hours' time for that, 2.5 hours, something like that.
Yes.
When we'll be live. So the session that's going up very soon for everybody to get ready and get sorted. There's a lot of logistical issues with getting somebody new sorted in a rig sometimes. So there's plenty of time to do that. And as I say, the stream will be going live in about 2.5 hours' time. If you want to join us for that one, plenty of racing coming up here tonight on the JP YouTube channel, as always, on a Sunday. I've been Ewan Lee alongside James Parfitt. We'll be back next week with the Road Atlanta race of the OGRL Coffee Cup. Hopefully, we'll see you then. But from now, from Spa, it's goodbye.